Several days had passed since the calamity aboard the USS Saturn, the loss of the USS Freedom. Nearly all the high-ranking officers on the Saturn were dead or still in sick bay. A group of ensigns led by Commander Verma, the captain of the USS Freedom, repelled the cybernetic threat of the Borg, but at great cost. Hundreds had died, and the Saturn was now operating at nearly 50% of its crew, and even less in terms of functionality. The ship's communications relays were completely destroyed. Only local ship communications still functioned. The ship itself was a floating hunk of metal, barely able to provide life support, and any engagement would surely mean death for the entire crew. The warp core was damaged, limiting the ship to warp 2.5. At that speed, it would take almost 3 years to reach Narinda Station. The rest of the ship was similarly decimated, and repairs were underway, but the raw elements needed for such a job are all beyond your reach. If you had access to a starbase, it might take hundreds of engineers and technicians a year to repair the Saturn, likely. It would be junked for parts. Building an entirely new ship from scratch might be quicker, but you do not have that luxury. The heroes of the Saturn's encounter with the Borg sit in Captain Benson's ready room, or is it Commander Verma's, who has assumed command. Your last few days have been filled with repairs on the ship, and for the doctor, flesh and mind. There was little time for a respite, but there were choices to be made. And to step back just a bit, I have the number of breaches that you currently have on your ship. Engines have 3, computer have 3, weapons have 3, structures has 6, sensors have 3, and communications have 7. These will become more important later on. I can explain them to you as needed. I'm going to share one thing with everyone before we get started. Please have that handy. That is a good way to figure out what you can do with momentum. And that should be helpful. All right. Any questions before we get started here?
Negative.
No.
Nope. You're actually in Captain Benson's lounge, as they would call it. A long table, almost like a boardroom table, where everyone can sit relatively comfortable and made for large decisions and meetings aboard the ship. None of you have ever been here, as you were certainly not important enough to be invited to such meetings with the captain. But today is a new day, and each of you sit with the acting captain of the USS Saturn, Commander Verma. Commander Verma, take it away, please.
Commander Verma sits at the head of the conference room table. He looks around. Part of him is lost in thought as he's recounting the damaged systems on the ship. Takes a moment, closes his eyes, and looks at Ensign Tala. Ensign, do we have a fix on our current position? Systems nearby, planets.
Would I know exactly, based on star charts and everything, where we were in the moment?
Yeah, you know that you're heading into the Shackleton Expanse. Generally, you have an idea of where you were. You are unaware of the exact rendezvous point was supposed to be with the Klingons. But yeah, you have a general gist of where you are. You're able to chart a course home, and that's how you are aware at this speed it would take 2.5 years or more. You're aware of generally explored systems nearby, which there are very few.
Ensign Tala nods to Commander. Yes, Commander, I am aware of where we are located at the moment.
That's good. That's a start. I understand the last few days have been very chaotic, to say the least. They have affected all of us in ways we had not expected. We have few choices ahead of us, and the reason I have invited all of you to this room is because not only the bravery you showed when we were attacked by the Borg, but the courage under pressure and quick thinking. We are going to need a lot more of that in the days to come. Mm, Maybe it's months to come. I do not doubt your calculations, so I believe it's going to take us 2.5 years to get back to Narendra Station. Based on the reports I'm seeing, our communications are all but lost. Which means that unless we see a ship in our sensor range, we may or may not be able to even contact them. That aside, there seems to be various structural damages across the ship, but we'll get to them one by one. The first order of business is I need people who can lead the rest of the crew. Many of them have lost, let me rephrase, many of you have lost all your senior commands. And in times like this, indecision can be one of our worst enemies. To fix that, I have reviewed your personnel files, your abilities, and knowledge that you bring to your position. Effective immediately, Ensign Cantrell, you will be taking over the ship's tactical systems. I want you to be aware of all possible threats that our sensors can and should pick up. If you believe our sensors are non-functioning, inoperational, or need some sort of jury rigging, I need to know, and we need to put that up in the list of things to do. Any questions?
No, sir. I'll be honored to serve in that position. I know that our sensor systems have sustained some damage, but I have been reviewing it over the past day or two, and compared to some of the damage sustained in other sections of the ship, it's relatively good news. But I'll continue working on it and try to identify the holes and what we can do to patch it up.
Excellent. Ensign Tala, you are a science officer, but let me rephrase. I will need you to take care of engineering as well. I feel there's a hole in our requirements. You're the only one who has the skills to do both.
Ensign Tala nods. Of course, Commander. I will make sure to properly evaluate engineering and attempt to fix any issues that have cropped up. I've attempted to analyze our warp drives at the moment. Unfortunately, I do not know how much we can do with the materials that we have on the ship.
Agreed. Dr. Kaiser, you are effectively in charge of medical. You are going to be our chief medical officer, and I'm depending on you to, well, keep us alive as long as you can based on what comes at us.
Understood, Commander. I will do what I can to make it so.
Ensign Quick, I foresee in the upcoming months we are going to try and scrounge around this sector of space. We might have to make deals that we may not be comfortable with. I'm hoping we can make deals we may not be comfortable with. Our ship may be boarded by entities friendly to us, looking to take advantage of us, or entities completely hostile to us. You are now effectively in charge of the ship's security. Anything that goes on the ship with respect to materials, personnel, movement of cargo, all of that comes under you.
Ensign Quick leans forward and kind of a stoic smile, and he's obviously happy to take this position. It's kind of what he always looked forward to, but of course not in these circumstances. But he says, "Aye, Commander. I'll be ready for whatever you need."
Effective immediately, I am promoting all of you to lieutenants. You are going to be in charge of the divisions I've assigned, and I will depend on you to get those divisions working to the best of your capabilities. I understand this is unorthodox, but moving forward, we will be put into unorthodox situations. Starfleet training will help us, but we will have to think out of the box, and I'm depending on the four of you to do it with me. Any questions?
Are we aware of how many are left on board?
At this point, I'm unsure if a ship-wide search clearing every quarter and every bulkhead has been done, but we should do that, Lieutenant Quick. If you have the personnel to spare, we should try and find out.
Aye, Commander. I'll get on that.
Yeah, what you found so far is you have this ship started out with around 2,000, and you have just over 1,000 that's accounted for remaining of the crew.
All right. Yeah, I'm thinking it'd probably be his job to find out who's still around and who's still operational, if there's any wounded left whatsoever.
Yes. The next order of business is a list of things that we should try and tackle. My understanding is we can't just be sitting here out in space. Help's not going to come to us. We will have to make our way towards help. We need to know what are the most critical systems that we can fix first. What do we need to fix those? And chart out some course to finding a resource somewhere in the vicinity that could potentially help.
It sounds like sensors and communication might be our first order of business then.
Yes, that would mean electronics. Anything else in engineering that we could potentially fix or improve to increase our speed?
I can attempt to have the crew assess any issues with the warp drive, seeing if we can jury-rig anything to increase our speed. I think it would be apt to venture down to the astronavigation lab and attempt to plot a course to the nearest planet with either resources or some sort of civilization that we can make trade with.
Yes, that was my idea as well. I think that should get us, I'm not sure what, but it should get us something. This is going to be a slow struggle. I will not kid you on that. But we need to look at this as successes. Every little success counts. It gets us inches closer to home.
As you're speaking, Commander Verma, your communicator pipes up. Someone's trying to contact you.
Commander Verma hits the emblem on his uniform. Commander Verma here, go ahead.
This is Ensign Kaval. The prisoner, the Ferengi, wants to speak to you.
Ah. Very well then. I shall be down. I'm assuming he's being held in the brig, right?
That's correct.
Okay. I shall be down to the brig shortly.
Ensign Quick straightens up. Shall I accompany you, Commander?
Yes, I want you there.
Commander Verma, assuming you've read my file, interrogation and assessment of deception are some of my specialties, and the Ferengi have a reputation for deception. You would know if you had read her file that she's half Betazoid. It's not something she advertises.
Yeah, I would have seen that. Commander Verma nods. Yes, your help in this matter, Lieutenant Cantrell, would be most appreciated. I feel we are going to meet a lot of individuals who will see our plight and choose to take advantage of us. Your skills in these matters would be most beneficial. I would gladly welcome your help.
Excellent, Commander.
Well, if there's nothing else, you're dismissed. Lieutenant Cantrell, Lieutenant Quick, I shall meet you in the brig. Lieutenant Tala, if you could stay back, I need to talk to you.
Of course, Commander.
Commander? And she'll give a nod, look to Lieutenant Quick, and head over to the doors and head over to the brig.
Quick stands up, straightens his uniform, and follows.
Commander Verma and Lieutenant Tala remain behind as the rest of you leave the room. Go ahead, Verma.
Commander Verma gets up from his chair and makes his way towards the viewport. Lieutenant Tala, the following conversation, I want to preface it by saying, feel free to speak your mind. This is not going into your record in any which way. I am deeply sorry for the decision I had to make on the bridge during the attack. My intention that day was to save Captain Benson at all costs. but I could not lose the ship and the crew on it. Please know that it was a hard decision to make.
Lieutenant Salan sends some receipts. She kind of puts her arms behind her back and puts her shoulders back, looking towards Commander Verma, staring at the viewport. Commander, I do understand that it was a difficult decision to make, and though you had assured me that it would be my decision what would commence with the captain, I do understand the logic in teleporting out to space.
Commander Verma turns around and faces you. The next few weeks are going to be extremely difficult on you. You have 2 divisions to take care of. I understand that he kind of takes a moment to consider his words. It is imperative that you seek assistance when needed. This is not a reflection on your abilities, but a reflection of all of us working as a team.
Of course, Commander. Though it would be miraculous if I could both man 2 separate stations at the same time, I do fully understand the need for assistance and for others to help out in this, as we are down so many crewmen. It will take a combined effort to attempt to get back to Starfleet. I am fully aware and will fully cooperate with everyone else in this. I do hope you understand that as well.
I do. It was just important for me to let you know my position. I am not trying to set you up for failure. It is just the reality of the situation. I will do what I can to have more personnel assigned to you to help in both divisions. I will do what I can to get that done as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Commander.
He nods. Dismissed, Lieutenant.
Tala turns around and exits the room. She seems, very stiff in a lot of her movements, but she does exit very promptly.
Commander Verma takes a moment, looks around the room, looks at the door through which the rest of the crew have left, turns around and looks out through the viewport in the vast emptiness of space, mutters something to himself, shakes his head, and then makes his way out of the room towards the brig.
Okay. The 2 security officers and Commander Verma meet up at the brig. There is only one prisoner. There were more at some point, but it appears that they perished. Those are the Lurians. Ensign Cavall is more or less in the room, manning the controls, looking over some things. He turns and sees you and nods. Commander! And he looks very... Yeah. He looks very... Did you put pips on Quick and Cantrell, by the way?
Yes. Well, not yet. Not after
Okay.
the conversation. Yeah,
Okay.
not yet.
He just turns around. The Ferengi prisoner wanted to speak to you. Something about what they had seen out here. And he just simply steps to the side. The Ferengi, who was captured in the Jeffries tubes trying to make his escape, but decided to aid you later on, is sitting in his bed looking through the force field out towards those who approach. Ah, good. This is the captain then. He stands up.
I'm Commander Verma, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
I'm Quat.
What?
That's
We
right.
did find you in some unfortunate circumstances.
Unfortunate
around.
indeed. Not my fault.
Well, Lieutenant Quick and Ensign Kowal tell me that you did assist in our time of need, and you have some information that is useful to us.
Yeah, well, I heard that we were kind of sitting ducks here. Surprised we survived it all, quite honestly. I've seen what those freaks can do.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Well, there were two things that we were researching out here before we got caught up in all this. Thought it might help. Maybe earn me a trip out of this cell.
I'm listening.
Well, there's a derelict ship not far from here. It's in a strange system. It's a dark matter nebula, or part of one. We were going to go salvage it, but got caught up in this. Maybe you can find something there to help.
And the second?
Yeah, another M-class planet. Not too far away. A couple days. Had life forms on it, that much I know.
Lieutenant Commander Verma acts as if he's thinking. He starts stroking his chin and looks sideways at Lieutenant Cantrell.
Is she getting... What kind of emotions is she getting, and is she getting a difference between his first suggestion and his second?
Let me whisper you that.
What is it? Quat, is it? What is it that you don't like about the first option?
Well, did I say that?
Oh, just, you just seemed a little reluctant. Tone of voice.
It's in a dark matter nebula. Don't know much about that personally, but heard it's dangerous. The Lurians, I know they weren't real excited to go in there.
I see. Well, Commander Verma, I think both of them seem like legitimate options.
Commander Verma nods. Lieutenant Quick,
Aye, Commander.
Do you think you could spare 2 ensigns to watch Quat?
Of course.
Very well. Quat, I have a deal for you. Here's
I
what's
always
gonna
like
happen.
deals.
You tell us the exact location of the ship that is stuck in the dark matter nebula, and whatever you know. I would hold back anything on this because if we do end up going there, you're going to be on this ship just like the rest of us. And whatever you fail to mention is going to affect you just as much as it's going to affect us.
Absolutely no reason for me to hide anything or keep anything back. I don't know that much, but whatever I know, and this, he touches his head, big brain of mine, I'll let you know.
Excellent.
He
And
smiles.
you'll also give us the coordinates of the M-class planet and the type of people we can potentially meet there.
I don't know. I can't remember what the Lurians said about them, honestly.
To help you remember, here's what's going to happen. I will assign you a quarter in the ship. You no longer have to spend your evenings in the brig, but 2 ensigns from Lieutenant Quick's team is going to be with you at all times, keeping an eye on you. You cause them any trouble, you go back in the brig.
No trouble from Quat, I tell you. No trouble. What? Give me a command presence.
Okay. Command present.
Difficulty 1.
Hold on. If I click on... Yeah, no, we just start the... Yeah, fine. Command present. Would you say I have been diplomatic in my conversation with
I
him?
would say so, yes.
Okay. Hoo-hoo!
Oh,
Nice.
boy. +2 momentum. He looks silent. Well, I tell you what, I didn't know if this was true or not, but it seems strange from what I know, but they claimed that the people on that M-class planet were, what do you call them? The Vulcans. That they were Vulcans. He shrugs.
Vulcans. And Commander Verma's eyebrows raise noticeably. Out here.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Seems kind of strange. I didn't want to lead you astray.
Well, please, and he kind of looks to Ensign Qual. You can bring down the barrier, Ensign.
He nods, pulling down the slider, and the barrier disappears. Ah, great.
Commander Verma looks at Lieutenant Quick. Have 2 ensigns assigned to him. I want him to talk to Lieutenant Talar first. Give her all the details of the ship that seems to be marooned in the Black Matter Nebula. And anything that he knows. Once he's done with that, restrain him to the quarters, please.
Aye, Commander. Well, come along, Quat.
Great. Do you think we could go to your local bar first? I'm quite parched.
Yeah, after this.
Oh. Well, so be it. He walks after Quick.
And Lieutenant Quick starts to walk walk with him and keep an eye on him at all times. He'll also immediately hit his comm and Lieutenant Quick to security personnel. I need 2 ensigns. Report to Tala's location immediately. Where's she at?
She'd be at the astrophysics lab, I believe.
Engineering.
Or engineering, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all meet you down there.
And when we walk in, kind of offer my hand for Quat to go in ahead of me.
Yeah, he walks in. He's been basically, as you've been walking here, he's been talking about the finest drinks that he had. He just like BSing with you the entire time.
Yeah. Small talk for a little bit
He seems
with him.
fairly affable, really.
Yeah. I'll small talk with him as well. He did help after a little sticky situation we were in before.
He did.
So
Yeah, you find Lieutenant Tala in engineering. There's a handful of techs in there, including crewman O'Connor working away. Tala, go ahead and let us know what you're doing in there.
And Sala's standing in the warp core. She's going around it. She's inspecting it, kind of seeing some of the anything that's sparking. She's making note of on a data pad, and she's instructing some of the crewmen around to fix certain parts of engineering, analyze some of the issues that have been cropping up. And she seems very focused on trying to figure out kind of ways to repair this, or at least repair it for now, as Lieutenant Quick and Quad enter the room. And she turns around, so data pad in hand, regards Lieutenant Quick with a nod. Lieutenant Quick, to what may I owe the pleasure? And she looks over to Quad with a glance before looking back to Lieutenant Quick.
Quat he speaks out, blurts out, "I think I'm here to help you, female."
Lieutenant Quick smiles a little bit towards Lieutenant Salah and says, apologies, Lieutenant Salah. Commander wanted me to bring Quat here to brief you on the current situation.
And she turns to Quad, looking him up and down, only kind of a minor eyebrow raise. She regards, what exactly do you have to inform me of?
Oh, just a few things I learned on the way here. He takes a passing stroke at his lobe and smiles with his pointed teeth. You see, there's an M-class planet not too far away. And I have those coordinates, or roundabouts, if you scan in that area.
I am assuming this M-class planet is important somehow.
Well, there's life on it. Somebody you might want to talk to. Some of your kind. You know, the pointy-eared kind.
She seems to, her eyebrows frown just slightly as she continues to look over Quat. You mean other Vulcans?
Bingo, Vulcans.
And how do you know of this?
Well, mostly through hearsay, but that's what the Lurians were saying. They were surprised that they were out this far. Which, from the look on your face, looks like you might be too, huh?
Well, it is a slight surprise. Yes. How did you come to this sort of information? Have you interacted with them, or is it just what you both
I
know?
believe, I don't know. Honestly, the captain of the Lurian ship, that's what he was saying. Just going by what he said. I know the system they're in. If you scan it, sure you can find them.
Hmm. Interesting. She'll look to Lieutenant Quick. Is this accurate?
Lieutenant Quick kind of staring towards Quat a little bit suspiciously, and say, Quat, you had a lot of information for the commander. What about the dark matter nebula?
Well, yeah, there's also a dark matter nebula not too far either. Supposedly there's a derelict ship in there, and maybe you could salvage it for parts. But, we didn't go close, because no one's that suicidal.
And the distance between both the M-class planet and the derelict ship, are they close, or
Oh,
what exactly did...
they're in opposite directions, more or less.
Of course.
He looks around. If you let me see where we are, I can punch in the coordinates of both.
If you give me the coordinates of both, I am perfectly able to punch in the coordinates myself.
You're a feisty female. I like it. And he goes and gives you the coordinates for both locations. When you look at them up on your in the computer, you can see that they are both about a few days in each direction, opposite of each other. Both are uncharted systems, so you're not really sure of any more details. You'd have to get closer to either.
So why exactly was this derelict ship not on your itinerary?
Well, it was, but seems like the bigger catch, right? Big Federation ship. Lots of goodies here. And easy, too. Well, that's what we thought, at least.
Yes. Unfortunately for you, your employers have mostly passed on, and now you are here.
I'm just one of the team now. You can give me one of those little buttons on your collar.
And you can see Tala is kind of restraining from making a bit of a sour face. She just, kind of the corners of her lips go in slightly as she looks back to Lieutenant Quat. Unless Quat has any more information for me, I think I shall bring these findings to the commander, see which one is his preference for.
Excellent, Lieutenant. Quat, you have any other information? I actually have interrogation. Is it possible to maybe see if he's hiding anything else, or maybe squeeze something else out of
you
it?
can, you go ahead and roll it, sure.
Is that...
You would roll it under, so that would be like a command presence roll.
Okay, command presence.
And then you would have an applicable focus. see 1 green. Oh, yeah. So you gain a momentum. Yeah, you don't think he's holding anything back. You just don't think he really knows too much. At this point, he's kind of ogling Tala, and he says, "Lieutenant, quick, make sure you give her my quarters where they are. I've got a good feeling about that female."
Yeah, I'll be sure to do that, Quad. And he'll look around for those ensigns and see if they've arrived yet, and
Yeah, they're waiting outside.
he'll nod to them both and be sure to take Quad to his quarters and keep a watchful eye on him. Make sure he doesn't try anything slippery, all right? 7B. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and if he wants to get a drink, I suppose one's not too bad.
They nod and sigh and lead Quat out of the room. He kind of looks over his shoulder and gives a toothy smile as he's taken to 10 forward.
At this point, Tala's already looking down at her combat, and she looks back up to Lieutenant Quick, her gaze completely away from Quad at this. I will be going to the Astro Navigation Lab. I will see if I can find out more information on these systems that are on. See if I can chart a safe path.
Aye. He looks at the ground for a minute, kind of. It seems like he wants to say something else to her, and he says, the dark matter nebula seems interesting to me. Do you think we should check that out?
It is mostly to see exactly what resources we can gain from both. I am concerned about this M-class planet that Quad has regarded containing Vulcan. Usually my people are not out this far. It is concerning to think of who they might. It would be interesting to interact, but seeing the Sterolite ship, that was the one in the Dark Matter Nebula, yeah?
Yes.
Seeing the Sterolite ship, it might get us to acquire certain necessary components for the ship. Though my only concern is that it might have been attacked by our assailants as well. They might still remain.
Yes. Is there anybody else in there at that moment?
There's other technicians walking around and stuff, but no, not really.
Okay. He'll sigh and be like, so are you doing all right?
Do you mean with the death of the captain?
He kind of straightens up a little bit and more. Yes. I didn't get a chance to offer my condolences.
She pauses, debating on exactly how to express herself in this situation. She seems to be kind of processing it for a moment. I am not sure how to process this. For now, I am going through with the work of repairing the ship. And thus far, it has consumed me.
He smiles and he says, there hasn't been much time to catch our breaths, but my Father would call me irrational. He'd say I'm like my mother, charging off towards trouble. He'd be right. I've been trying my entire life to impress everyone around me. But, I've been doing my best from the moment I wake up. He looks around for a second, not sure why he's telling her this and everything, but he says, I guess all of us in Starfleet are like that, though. Trying to outdo the others and one-up each other. Get noticed. But in the midst of this tragedy, we see our true colors. And, I just wanted to let you know you've done a great job.
I do. Thank you, Lieutenant Quick. You do remind me of Ensign Kruger. I do understand the plight of waking up and attempting to outdo everyone else. It is interesting to see the similarities between our species in a way, but I do thank you for your condolences and your candor.
Lieutenant Quake smiles and nods and kind of hands behind his back, takes a step back and bows his head a little bit and, well, and Lieutenant, I'll see you soon. And turns to exit.
As Quick exits, the scene switches and goes to Med Bay, where Dr. Kaiser is attending to one of his patients, Ensign T.D. Faulkner. Ensign Faulkner had been badly injured by one of the Borg, and he's been showing signs of being infected by their nanoprobes. Although Dr. Kaiser was able to keep this from changing one of his patients, who is still in sickbay and unconscious, he's been unable so far to replicate the success with Ensign Faulkner, who sits there or lays there delirious in the chair. Mother, he grunts with his eyes closed, his face stained with sweat and a silver shine to his skin as lines of what appears to be circuitry coming up from his neck into his ear and eye.
Easy, Faulkner. I'll find the answer to this, I promise. You need to work with me here. I mean, obviously I have him restrained after having similarly poor experiences with the last time I didn't do that. And I'm going to try to do my best to evaluate how badly it spread so I know where best to combat it with this.
Yeah, go ahead and give me your what is that? Medicine and I'd say probably reason with a focus.
Task difficulty?
2. And you got it. Yeah, it's pretty advanced, you're thinking. You've looked over his, you've scanned his body, and you can see that there are many nanoprobes in his bloodstream which have spread to almost all organs in his body. That he's held on for so long is quite remarkable, actually. He is the last person that you know that has been infected on the ship still has nanoprobes in their body. Your previous patient, you basically killed all the nanoprobes, so you have some samples of the destroyed nanoprobes, but living actual data and a living subject. This is it.
All right, Ensign. I'm going to try to do what I can to at least slow the spread or stop the spread. I can't guarantee anything, but I will do my best.
Mother! He seems delirious.
And Dr. Kaiser will give it a go, trying to use whatever tools that he has available to destroy what probes he can find, just going from the extremities first to try to stop the spread, whatever ones are the furthest along and most advanced, and then work his way towards inwards, I guess, wherever they are located at deeper, and trying to stop the spread so he can at least buy himself more time if possible, if he's not able to wipe it all out.
Okay. How about something kind of new? Let's do, you think daring makes sense under medicine?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see. What's my difficulty?
For this part, 2.
What is part 2? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Daring medicine?
Yep.
Focus?
Do you think you have a focus? I'd have to look at them.
Borg nanotechnology.
Oh, yeah. I would say so, yeah.
Roll.
Do you have any talents that let you re-roll a die or anything?
I may. Let me check.
Too bad this isn't the Borg disease. He was
I did not.
So you begin to inject Ensign Faulkner with various antibodies that should attack the nanoprobes. They're modified by you. You haven't had a lot of time to do this yet, similar to cancer cells. And at first you see the scan of his body, and you see the red, which is basically representative of your antibodies, and you see the gray cold metal of the nanites, and you see the red cells attack the gray cells, and for a moment it seems to help, but then Faulkner is just he kind of raises up in the bed and begins to pull very, very hard against the restraints, and you hear Nurse Davidson run into the room. What's going on? What's going on, Doctor?
I'm trying to get a handle on this disease before it spreads. It's reacting poorly. I might need to take drastic measures to stop this. We might lose him.
She's out of breath and sweating from... she's one of the only other medical personnel that survived. She says, what if he does die, then shouldn't we try to harvest some of the live nanites to study them, maybe? I don't know.
I don't want to think that far ahead. I'm trying to save a man's life. Do me a favor, nurse. Get Lieutenant Quick to send a couple men down in case I can't get control of the situation.
She nods, taps on the comm link to Ensign Quick. Ensign Quick, this is Nurse Davidson. Can you and a few of your men come down to the sick bay?
Yes, what's the problem?
Dr. Kaiser's working on Ensign Faulkner. We think he might be ready to turn into one of those creatures.
All right, we're on our way. And Quick would immediately grab another assistant as soon as he could.
Yeah, you actually find Cantrell first. She's close by, so the two of you can go.
Cantrell,
Yes.
I need your assistance immediately at the med lab.
Oh, sure. Tell me on the way.
And he obviously looks like pretty hurried, so they take off.
Yeah, and you can explain yourself. As you come in, you kind of see the scene of Dr. Kaiser and Nurse Davidson looking over Ensign T.D. Faulkner, and they're looking at scans and that sort of thing.
Oh, this doesn't look good. Tell me what we're looking at, Dr. Kaiser. I've got some medical knowledge, but certainly nowhere near your expertise.
It's not good. I've seen it before. There's another patient here, and I would gesture over towards the ensign I previously worked on. He's suffering from something similar. With him, I tried a bit of unconventional medicine and was able to stop the spread. Was able to cure him, more or less. I've tried to replicate the same results with Faulkner. I don't know if it's a difference in body chemistry or if it's adapting. I've had enough time to review the things I have that destroyed. It's nanotech. The disease is based in nanotech. It's very strange, difficult, and not altogether my expertise, but I'm learning. Anyway, this disease spreads, attacks, and assimilates. I'm trying to at least hit the edges, the ones that have spread the furthest, to buy myself more time. But when they progress past a certain stage, it's rapid. The body becomes more accustomed to these nanotechnology, these nanites, and it accepts them. I think that looking at this advanced case, I may have to do invasive surgery, and not a very likely chance that Ensign Faulkner will survive, to be completely honest.
Well, he's certain not to survive if we do nothing. So, tell me what I can do to to help. Do you need help restraining? Are the sedatives still working on?
They're not working as well as you would like, certainly.
He gains, I believe he gains increases in strength as it progresses, and he's much more volatile. I don't know if it's the nanites attempting to take control or what. I don't know enough about it, but the only thing I need is for you to be at the ready in case the sedatives completely fail, because I won't be able to stop him.
Why don't I move over here by Faulkner and I'll just hold him gently, and in case he does start to move during your procedure, I'll hold him as still as I can.
I'll do the same as well. Doctor, remember when our weapons, they were able to recalibrate their shields, change. Maybe the same thing is happening with the nanites.
I have a fear that is the case. I think that Borg technology, and this is a supposition of course, but it's adapting constantly. This is their tech. It's adapting to my attempts to combat it. But I don't really know of any other way but to be invasive and be more aggressive.
Do you think his body's capable of surviving without the nanites at this point?
I don't know. Maybe not. But I have to try, or the man's dead.
Have we tried something like an electromagnetic pulse, which may stop his heart as well, but perhaps he could be resuscitated and the nanites could be deactivated?
Yeah, that's more or less what you did the first time.
She doesn't know that,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, I was just reminding, yeah.
I used a sort of electroshock therapy on Lieutenant Gata over there, and that's what cured him. I have a mind to do the same thing, but I'm just going to have to go higher voltage and be more aggressive with it. I don't really know what else to do.
In that case, She starts rummaging around for some rubber gloves or something
Yeah.
in case they do have to restrain him.
If they are tiny computers, would it be possible to possibly recalibrate them somehow to focus and move into a different location of the body?
I don't know. Most of this is new to me. I only know how to destroy it bluntly. Maybe we could contact Tila in science, see if she or somebody else there has knowledge of computers, but time is of the essence.
It is an interesting idea. Perhaps if we damaged an part of him that was non-essential, the nanites would focus their efforts in that area. I don't know. You're the doctor.
They seem to be all based off of probes internally, and these nanites come from them. But I don't know how much the probes will move around. They're just...
Maybe inject him with a different type of disease in a different location, and then see if they try to protect him somehow. Maybe it would slow it down at least.
Mm-hmm. And then Kaiser will see his eyes gloss over. Oh no. We had to start. And see. We're starting to lose him. I'm gonna get my rubber gloves on. Alright. Just keep him held down, and I'll do what I can.
Cantrell hands over some rubberized gloves to Ensign Quick from the cabinet.
Yeah, you all get safety gear on for this, and Nurse Davidson moves in to assist the doctor.
And then I'd look to Davidson. Nurse, in the event that this does not work, we may be put in a position where we have to terminate Faulkner. I need you at the ready to try to get a live sample of one of the Borg nanotech probes if you can.
She nods. She works over to his, what is essentially an IV, and begins calibrating it to try to do so. I'll do my best. I don't, never clearly done anything like this before, but...
None of us have, to be honest, so we're all in familiar company. Okay, let's give this a try. And then, I will try to aggressively invade Ensign Faulkner's body to destroy these probes.
Can we roll any assists?
Nurse Davison is going to do the assist, since you guys are just holding him down. So I'll do her medicine roll. It's a daring, and let's see if she gets it. No. No, she did not. She rolled a 14. Just by 1. So she's not able to help. Difficulty 3.
We have 3 momentum in the pool.
You do.
And it's at an incremental cost.
It is. Okay.
In
this, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I will blow all momentum for 4 dice.
Yep. Okay. All right. That's... You got focus. You have focus. So let's see what happens.
That's 3.
Yep.
Wow, I suck.
Oh my goodness. So describe exactly how you're doing this. Like,
so how it was last time, if I remember correctly, I was just trying to hit, I was trying to pinpoint and locate the centers there with light.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So with this, I'm locating them. Maybe they're coming up faster and I can stop them. Maybe they're so numerous that you knock one out, 2 more come back. Whatever. I'm trying to do blanket electricity, like maybe more voltage or maybe than I should, than what's reasonable, just because I'm trying to hit as many centers as possible and work against the rising tide of centers within here. And probably not good.
You turn it up to 11, so to speak, and start shocking him. His body is like convulsing on the table there. He's my mother, mother, and then suddenly he stops saying that, and just you see both eyes go gray, and the rest suddenly his other cheek fills with lines of gray, and you see these nodules start popping up through the skin, and he begins to pull and pull. He looks like you see the bindings begin to give.
Kaiser will, being in the position that he has the most power to do so, will make the hard choice. And I will probably take him out for the good of everybody else in the room, unfortunately, at this point. Because what we've seen, you can't come back from this.
And how are you going to do that?
Turn the voltage up to 12.
Okay.
And I think this is a decent time, given that it's fairly against my nature. I have a value. I will strike a value. We can still save them. I mean, if I have to roll something, then I'll use a determination.
No, you're good. Yeah, I heard what you're saying. Yeah, give me So you look up at the scans and you see like the nanites are infecting every organ, including his heart and all his organs. So you're actually now you're trying to kill him. So go ahead and give me a medicine daring roll to kill him, and you can use a determination for one, but give you 2 successes.
Yes, I will do that.
And you need. We'll just say you need 3 to succeed here.
I will strike. We can still save them as a value. Also, I'm not sure how I put a line through it. But.
That's fine. I know. We'll remember.
And of course, we'll wait until just before he's about to shock to let go.
So
yeah, you're doing literally nothing by holding him. He is way stronger than both of you combined at this point.
Is this a focus at any point?
No, I would say not.
Killing a man. I already have 1, so I'm setting for task difficulty. I already have 2 successes, so I'm setting task difficulty 1 for these because the perfect die. So.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And you got it. So how does that look as you kill your patient?
So I look at Quick and Cantrell looking at the scans, and it's going to happen. We can't stop it. And then remembering how strong just one of these are, and knowing what's going to happen if he breaks the bindings, Kaiser, his face kind of darkens and says, "On my mark, let go," and starts revving the machine up that he has with the electricity. And then as soon as it's where it needs to be, now! And then he'll just shove the whatever prongs or whatever it is into Faulkner, and until he expires.
Yeah, he's trying to rip at the bindings. And all of a sudden his eyes go wide, and you actually see on the scan all the nanites, like the electricity bounce from one to the other, just all through his body. And then he immediately like crashes backwards, and all the exposed circuitry and whatnot begins to smoke. And at that point, Nurse Davidson attempts to get a sample with her medicine roll. The daring. Difficulty 2 dice. I'm going to say no focus on that. Here we go. Yeah, after a few seconds, she... Wait, no! And she kind of cringes back as he's shocked, and just that split second of delay, all the nanites are dead before she's able to collect any. I didn't get one. I didn't. Sorry. I'm sorry.
It's fine, nurse. Just get something to cover him, please.
God, that was awful. God, that was awful.
Quick will look down at the ground and look over at the doctor. You did your best, Doctor.
It's unfortunate that I did a better job of killing him than saving him. And
It
then
was a mercy, believe me.
Kaiser will push the electrical machine away a bit roughly, but not enough to have it clatter anywhere. I have a mortuary report to fill out for Commander Verma. I appreciate you both coming down here to help me try. Thank you.
And with that, the nurse grabs the white cloth and drapes it over the dead body of Ensign Faulkner, the 987th confirmed casualty of the USS Saturn. The screen goes black and then opens up in the ready room with the captain sitting there making his decision. One sec. Flip you guys over there. All right, Verma. You've gotten all the reports from Tala about where these places are and in what direction they are and that sort of thing.
Verma is sitting there looking at the reports. Has she got any additional information about the nebula that our computers may have?
No, it's too far to scan with your current problems with your sensors.
Okay. Is this a known phenomenon in the sense that is there any theoretical knowledge about what a dark matter nebula could hold?
Well, actually,
Should I roll something?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. You're able to query that in the computer system. Actually, yeah, that's fine. You know that from reports, and you've looked up dark matter nebulas. You have seen they have been known to happen in very, very young solar systems.
Uh-huh.
They're very chaotic inside. The dark matter itself has very random properties. So they could be explosive, or they could be corrosive. They could be, just a lot of difficulty navigating them. They're impossible to scan for normally. Usually, planets inside them are gas giants or actually brown dwarf stars, or similar to brown dwarf stars, I'll say. Very, very, very difficult navigation and very dangerous.
Okay. Sounds
Gravitational pulls are extreme.
Fuck. Hold on. Okay. Okay. And then the M-class planet. Is there anything in our reports about that?
Yeah, just its location, and that how long it'll take to get there. That it is supposedly just what you heard. She's unable to really get a scan of it from this distance.
Okay, so Commander Verma is sitting in the ready room, and he's looking at these reports. And as he's looking at the distance from their current location to the disabled ship in the nebula, he brings up an additional screen with general information about a dark matter nebula. And as he's reading, well, sensors are damaged, engines are damaged, computers are damaged. This wouldn't be navigatable if we had a fully functional system. And at this point, Commander Verma is like sitting on his chair with his hands on the armrest, um, and massaging his forehead as he's thinking. It's unclear what the ship holds. It's unclear of its cargo, its crew. Vulcans on an M-class planet. What are they doing this far out? Will they help? Or will they be their recalcitrant self as usual? And he sits there and he ponders. And how far along do you think this would be after Ensign Faulkner's death?
It's happening more or less simultaneously.
Okay. He reaches out to his comm badge, clicks it, and reaches out to whoever's on the bridge.
You reach out to the bridge, and answering is... Sorry.
No problem.
Ensign Payne, tactical.
Okay. Ensign Payne laying a course for the M-class planet. The coordinates are being sent to you as I speak, and he taps in a few keys on his computer to send it to the station that the ensign's answering from.
Yes, sir. We'll get away right now.
Maximum possible warp, please.
Yes, sir. And this is the guy that you basically lost in the catwalk that was saved.
Okay, cool.
So he doesn't really speak too much to you. You don't know if he's scared or upset or whatever, but he gets you guys underway, and unless you have anything else, we'll move to the next scene. Just let me know.
Yeah. In the report, does the M-class planet have a name or some designation?
They just called it, Quad called it Vulcan Planet. It's not in any star charts that you have access to.
Okay, sounds good. So, Commander Verma sits back and continues to ponder, and that's all that he'll be doing.
Okay.
Before fully going underway, slightly travel to the M-class planet, Lieutenant Eli is going to press down on a communicator and try to contact Commander Verma. Commander Verma, are you available?
Commander Verma here. Go ahead, Lieutenant.
I had some... I do not know if you would consider them insights or just concerns with the M-class planet. As you know, Vulcans are not normally out this... I am unsure if these people who have settled here with the first vacators of planet Vulcan, same ones who left to originally colonize Romulus. I don't know if they are their descendants or how they will react to us showing up, but of course we can assume the best.
Yes, Lieutenant Ala, your concerns are duly noted. I was worried about the same aspects about the Ferengi's information. I do not know if they're Vulcans. Sidebar. This timeline, Romulans would be known, correct?
Yes, they're known.
Okay. Um, I do not know if they're Vulcans or if the Ferengi, in his eagerness to help, mistook them for Vulcans when they could actually be Romulans. Either way, the dark matter nebula seemed a little too dangerous for the current state of the ship. When we get there, we will try and scan the surface of the planet and attempt to make peaceful contact. If possible, we'll try and barter. Maybe there's something they need if we are lucky. If not, we may lose a few days. We can make our way back to the dark matter nebula if that's the only other option at that point.
Of course, Commander.
Nonetheless, I would request you research anything you can when it comes regarding Vulcans who have left the homeworld, and I shall do the same.
I will assign some of the crewmen to continue with both engineering and science, and I will dedicate my time to looking into my people's history.
Excellent. Commander Verma out.
All right. Lieutenant Tala, can you please give me a well, let's see. What would that be? If you have any suggestions, please let me know.
I guess mostly looking into, I'm guessing, just kind of the history.
Yeah, just research, right?
Yeah.
I would say probably it's a science.
Yeah.
So I would say science and reason would be fine.
Okay.
Probably no focus though on this.
Oh,
one.
no.
Difficulty is 2. You may use the ship's computers. However, they are partially damaged, so that's going to increase your difficulty. Where is it? 1 second. Damaged, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, difficulty 3 is what this is. So go ahead and we'll use, you can use the computer.
I do also have one of my talents is that technical expertise. When I attempt a task assisted by the ship's computers or sensors, I may reroll 1d.
Perfect. Okay, so first thing is use the ship token. You can use the computers and ship science, and that should roll 1d20 for you.
Okay. I'm blank. Okay.
No. So you're unable to find anything with the ship's computers that might be helpful.
I'm gonna roll with that d20 though.
Well, you can roll now. You roll your.
Oh, then I roll mine. Okay.
Yeah, it's like an assist essentially.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I roll my science plus reason.
I don't think you have any momentum at this point.
No, it's fine.
Now, you could use a determination if you wanted to give yourself an automatic success. 2 successes, actually, if you have a focus, which you don't, but 1. So
I'm probably going to hold
off.
off.
You'd have to challenge a value. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to hold off on that. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to roll one of those two.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Roll a 20.
I'm gonna attempt. Oh, wait.
No, don't roll a 20. This isn't how this system works.
Give me
I
that
got
threat.
1.
Yeah, you're not able to find anything that's obvious about the historical, historical archives, at least that this ship has access to, about anything about Vulcans coming to the Shackelford Expanse at all. Verma, you can do the same thing if you would like.
Okay. Science and reason, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm. There you go.
Oh, no.
I'll just take the threat for now. Do you even want to roll the ship? You
No,
don't have to
no.
if you don't want to. Yeah, neither of you are able to find anything at this point. Is there anything you want to do before you're on your way? I'm guessing Slip might want to.
Well, is most of the crew aware that I'm sure we can sense that ship's moving? Has it been announced where we're going?
No, Verma would not have announced where they were going, but yes, the folks on the ship will notice it is moving.
All right, when that happens, Cantrell would head to the bridge, try to find out what's going on. She enters the bridge. Is Commander Verma there, or is he in the quarters?
After making that announcement, Commander Verma would have also made his way to the bridge. Not announcement, as after he spoke to Ensign Payne, he would have made his way to the bridge as well.
Okay, you two at least are on the bridge. Let me pull you over there slowly. You see Verma sitting in the captain's chair.
Commander Verma, the ship's underway. Have you come to a decision then?
Yes, Lieutenant Cantrell. Based on the information that Quat provided and Lieutenant Tala's assessment of that of the said information, I believe making our way to the M-class planet is a safe option. The dark matter nebula would be treacherous at this point to navigate with our systems in disarray.
Agreed. It seems a devil you know versus the devil you don't decision.
Yes. However, I feel that we should be prepared for what's on that planet. The Ferengi said Vulcans, but he could be easily mistaken and they could be Romulans. And we all
Vulcans.
do. Yes. I believe Quat, the Ferengi that we captured, said there were two options in front of us. One was a disabled ship in a dark matter nebula, few days journey from here. The other was an M-class planet with Vulcans on it.
I didn't think he mentioned that while I was there. That seems unlikely. But
Yes.
regardless, if it Romulans or something completely different, I think we'd better be prepared. I'll work on the sensors and try to assess our defenses. And perhaps we can determine what our tradable assets are.
Yes, I was going to get to that. We need a accounting of what what assets we have and what systems need repair. We need to get that underway. But yes, do begin work on the sensors. Um, I will have someone work on the communication grid as well. Otherwise, we'll have to take a shuttle or even transport ourselves down there.
I'd much rather we were able to communicate without doing that, so with your leave, sir, I'll get to work right away.
Please do. Commander Verma hits his comm badge. Lieutenant Allah,
Yes, Commander.
is there some way we could get our near-field communications at least operational? I would wish not to arrive unannounced on the inhabitants of the M-class planet.
I can attempt to work with Lieutenant Contrail to enable them.
Excellent.
Yeah, Talai, why don't you give me just a like an engineering reason?
If we're... Oh, is this not an effort? This is an assessment?
This is an assessment. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Engineering reason.
Difficulty 1.
Oh my goodness.
Lieutenant Cantrell, why don't you assist with 1 die? Same thing.
All right. Just, this is engineering reason.
Mm-hmm.
You can roll
Yeah.
one more d20, no?
For an assist, it's just
Oh,
one
assist, that's
D20.
an assist. Yeah, sorry.
Or you can, yeah, I would say it's...
No, it's an assist, it's fine.
Yeah. You're unable to really tell what's going on with the communications as of yet, but you're unable to get them back online for at least a day.
All right. Cantrell will focus her efforts on the sensors then.
And Lieutenant Law reports back to Commander Verma. Unfortunately, we are still unable to get communications up and running. I apologize, Commander.
Very well then. Please assist Lieutenant Cantrell with the sensors. If we cannot communicate with the folks on that planet, I would like to know where they're situated at. We might have to beam ourselves down a bit away from them and approach their settlement in a peaceful manner.
I shall get on that right away, Commander.
Very well.
So, despite everyone's best efforts to get the ship more operational by the time you get there, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen. Just running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. Some of the most specialized technicians and officers are dead. So it is very difficult to repair these systems. Plus, the ship is just a wreck. It's barely being held together. It appears that you probably need, a dry dock to do this, or more crew and more equipment. So you are almost in range of close where you could scan the planet you're actually coming up on it. And let me switch the scene for you guys. You begin to approach a small M-class planet. Initial scans easily find that this M-class planet is arid, much like Vulcan itself. And that's your initial scans. It has a very low rate of water mass versus land mass. The temperatures are within reasonable humanoid living conditions, but they do tend to range on the warm side. The atmosphere is completely breathable to humans, Vulcans, Betazoids, etc.
I assume everybody's on the bridge at this point,
Yeah,
except for the doctor, as of course. Commander Verma looks up to Lieutenant Cantrell and Tala. Scan the surface for biosigns or settlement.
Yeah, somebody can give me a I would let this go with security too, but science would also work. Whoever wants to do it, it would be like a security, probably a security reason roll, or a science reason roll. However you guys want to play that.
Is Tala busy with other things? I mean, I guess it's probably whoever's stationed closest to the whatever.
Yeah. I think Tala's more focused on more of the navigation side and navigating here.
Okay,
I'd assume
well,
Control's more on the sensors. She's assisting, but...
Well, it looks like Lieutenant Quick took it into his own hands to do so.
there you go. He rushes over and does it.
Go ahead and give me a roll from the USS Saturn. Give me a sensors security. Oh boy. So the difficulty was 3. So I'm gonna whisper you what you find there, Lieutenant.
So Lieutenant Quick's at the console and starts hitting on the pad there. Running a scan now, Commander.
Sorry, this is a lot because you did so well.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. You're taking our gerb.
He's trying to be all grown up now that he's got his lieutenant badge. Commander, it seems we are picking up about 700 biological life forms in a small geographic area. One crashed ship, old Vulcan make, 300 years old, limited technology. Bioreadings, these are 100% genetic match to Vulcans. It seems that a couple might be infected with a virus that could be contagious to humans or Vulcans.
I see. Vulcans on a 300-year-old ship. Is that correct, Lieutenant Quick?
Aye, Commander.
Crashed, and there's 700 of them.
Yes, it's difficult to pick up through the atmosphere, but it appears 700 biological life forms.
And he said they have a possible infection that is susceptible, or humans and Vulcans are susceptible to it?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what the computer reads, but it could be researched further by medical personnel.
Sure. Just to, because I don't see it on the sheet, Dr. Kaiser is a Trill?
No, he's a human.
Is a human. Dr. Kaiser, and Commander Verma taps his comm badge.
Yes, Commander.
We have arrived at an M-class planet, roughly 700 Vulcans. From the sensor reads and drawing conclusions on the data so far, they could be possibly marooned on this planet. We have detected a couple of them have an infection that is can affect humans and Vulcans alike. Does Medbay have suits that you could take in to keep yourself safe from the infection?
I'm not entirely sure of what we're dealing with, Commander. Is there any data that can come down, or should I come up?
Give me a moment. Commander Verma nods to Lieutenant Quick to send the data to Lieutenant Kaiser's terminal.
Transferring data now.
Yeah, you see various the data on this virus, which looks to plague almost the entire population, from what you can tell. You're trying to look at it's definitely degenerative, but you need to roll more to figure out.
Yeah, I want to pull from my own medical knowledge, but also cross-reference with any data we have in the ship from Federation records or otherwise, to see if I have anything that I can reference it to, either directly or in comparison.
Give me a do focus on this. Give me a reason medicine. And I think you do have infectious diseases as one of your things.
I
right?
do, yeah. That's difficulty 1, 2?
This is just one.
And then does that use the ship as well?
Yep, you can use the ship as well. Oh, nice.
Just task computers?
It would be, yeah. I think it'd be like computer medicine, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you got one momentum there.
I would like to do. I think I can do an immediate spend for additional
Yes.
information.
You definitely can.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. I just want to whisper this to you. Okay, I'm gonna whisper you something too. I like using whispers. It's just kind of time consuming. Give me 1 second.
Okay, so it's just slightly after first contact.
It depends, right? 21st
Yeah.
century could be before, could be after.
Yeah. Lieutenant Talak kind of chimes in. Commander, I would be wary about the Vulcan on this planet. Most likely this was around first contact, at least maybe based by the date of the ship. It might be wary of humans.
Yes, that's an astute observation, Lieutenant Ola. It is hard to say what their outlook could be upon humans this far away from Earth. But if they are truly sick and it is something that we can help with, maybe it's worth the risk. If we can save all 700 of them.
Hey, Verma, give me a command insight roll.
Okay.
Difficulty 1.
Based on what you want me to do, does any of my focuses apply?
I doubt it, but let me look.
Okay.
Let's
If
say
not,
yes.
it's
I
Okay.
say yes.
Okay, fine. That's difficulty 1, correct?
Yes.
No.
Okay. All right. Nothing for you there.
That's a noble thought, Commander. It's also possibly a currency that we can afford if they have anything that could help us.
You are right, Lieutenant Cantrell. It is hard for me to know whether we are in dire straits or they are.
Perhaps it will be mutually beneficial.
Yes.
Mhm. It would also be interesting to see how their culture is thriving, being on this planet with so few of them.
Pardon me for asking, I don't mean for this to sound insulting, but so if it were Romulans, that would show up as different genetically? There's been enough divergence?
I believe that's true, yes.
Yes. I do know. I have a feeling they must have left planet Vulcan. If the ship that they have is any inquiry into the time that they left the planet for here. It would make sense. But this ship could also be something salvaged. Maybe they were touring around, flying around for a long time. Maybe they are more recent than we think. It is just the ship that is dated.
I would hit my comm badge. Commander, I have an update for you.
Go ahead, Doctor.
I've been running some comparisons on what we're looking at. This appears to be Benar syndrome, adapted into virus form. Worse, some of it's become airborne. I don't know of any proper way to deal with this disease, but the only known cure for it is on Vulcan, and we're not getting there anytime soon.
What does the disease do?
It is a type of disease that causes degradation in synaptic pathways, particularly in Vulcans. It's a neural disease. There are few who have it in most Vulcan society. Unfortunately, many are ostracized from society as a result of having it. It's not a great deal of those who are afflicted by it. Apparently it developed from something to do with improper mind melding. Not certain. Records are not clear, but if your scans are correct, almost every single Vulcan on planet side suffers from this. And it's even gotten into the air now.
Are Vulcans the only ones susceptible to it?
I don't see any cases of humans being affected, but then again, I've never seen it so prolific. I've never seen it airborne either. I would definitely not recommend any Vulcan crew go down, but I couldn't say the effects it might have on us. As long as we don't mind meld, and not that I think we can anyway.
Do we have any type of equipment on board that could protect us from this?
EV suits should protect you from any airborne viruses.
The airborne portion wouldn't be an issue to deal with, but I don't know about direct contact.
Yeah, EV suits should also, if somebody grabbed you with it and that was transmitted that way, the EV suit would protect you if you had the EV suit on.
What about symptomatic treatment? Do we know anything about that? Even if we couldn't cure it.
Nothing. It's difficult to counteract the degradation of a synaptic pathway when pathways are decaying. It's like anything that decays.
What does this all mean in practical terms? What would we encounter? Would their behavior be altered drastic?
Potentially.
Yeah, one thing that it might not be in the article, but Kaiser, you know that this also leads to an inability for Vulcans to suppress their emotions.
Without having... With having this syndrome, it could prevent Vulcans from maintaining control of their emotion. They could be severely influenced by them.
That is a large danger. If they cannot control their emotions, they could be hyper-violent, hyper-emotional. It is very concerning.
I would recommend not coming into direct contact with them if we can help it. I think only bad things can come of it. Maybe we can get information back to... once we're back in Federation space to help them, but right now they're nothing but a danger to us. With all due respect.
Communications are down for another 24 hours, correct?
They might be down permanently.
So-
I have one other thing for you, though.
Well, they might very well be dangerous, but somehow they've managed to get along with one another for this long.
Are we certain of that?
Well, only that there are some still alive, I suppose.
It is true, but though there were still many on Vulcan before, there were the ability to harness and control our emotions. There was much strife and much war. Just because they are not in control of their emotions does not mean they will be constantly warring, but they will be most likely easier to be up in arms.
Unpredictable.
Exactly. It is a danger.
Due to their conversation, Lieutenant Quick goes back to the console and punches in a few things, and then he looks up from the board, and it looks like there's salvageable parts on that ship, in the wreckage there.
Commander Verma sitting on the captain's chair. He has his head bowed a bit. His index fingers pressing on the bridge of his nose as he's listening to everybody's input. Lieutenant Tala, is it possible to get a transporter lock into that abandoned ship?
I can head down to the transporter room and attempt, yes, Commander. Or do you wish me to contact Crewman O'Connor? I think she is stationed in...
Have Crewman O'Connor see if it is possible to get a transporter lock within that ship. Have a scan run on that ship to see if there are any humanoid forms within it.
Yes, Commander. And Lieutenant Alao, head of communicator. Crewman O'Connor,
Yes, Lieutenant.
are you located in the teleporter room at the moment?
I am. I'm running some diagnostics. It's one of the only pieces of equipment that looks like it's working normally.
If it is possible, there is a ship that is down on the current planet we are. If it is possible to get the lock and be able to transport a few of us inside the ship, we would like to know.
One moment. It goes silent for a few minutes, and she says, "Yes, I think I can teleport one or maybe two people down inside the ship, at least at a time. It appears to be very damaged and not a ton of room inside."
Thank you, crewman. Lieutenant Allowed. And she'll turn back to the commander. Crewman O'Connor says it is possible, but only 1 to 2 people can get transported down at a time.
It would be dishonorable if we were to just transport in there and out with the parts we needed. Our situation may be dire, but we cannot resort to our baser instincts. At least that should not be our first reaction. Nonetheless, we do need a backup. Lieutenant Kaiser, have Lieutenant Tala and Lieutenant Quick, Lieutenant Cantrell and myself, we will need EV suits. Lieutenant Cantrell and myself are going to go down to the surface and make contact.
Yes, Commander.
Well, cancel that. They have possibly not met humans before. They would not know about
There is a chance, Commander. If need be, I will go down first with you, if that is what you are requesting.
I have to recommend against that, Lieutenant Tila. You are the most susceptible to this. They will likely want to communicate with you through a meld. That's mad.
It is true that there is the risk of that, though we do need to establish communication. I am not going to volunteer myself to meld with these other Vulcans, if possible. I just do not want them to get hostile if they see a species they are not familiar with. That is my concern, Dr. Kaiser.
Is there
Doctor, go ahead.
is there anything that we could bring down with us as a gesture of goodwill? We don't know their medical supply situation.
That I do not know.
if they have been stuck, marooned on this planet for 300 years. They are essentially considered a species of the planet, even though their root might be Vulcan. Do we then consider them an indigenous species of this planet? Have they created their own societies, rules, and outlook on life?
They could have. I do think that we should keep the Rhine Directive in mind. They
No
might.
one else has to roll.
The prime directive is to stop us from meddling in affairs of worlds that are not yet capable of achieving the technological advancements we have achieved while maintaining balance with basic humanoid urges of vengeance, envy, anger. It is alright to uphold these values, and it makes sense to do them when the circumstances permit them. But I have lost too many people, and it seems I've lost one more, Ensign Faulkner now. Starfleet regulations. I have no choice. We will make contact.
Commander, I may have an alternative if the Prime Directive is a concern.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Well, it would be a bit crude, but it should suffice. We could use prosthetics to disguise whatever away team as Vulcan. That way, in a sense, we're not violating any directive. We're not making first contact. We might be infiltrating a society, perhaps, but I think that would fall within the realm of the Prime Directive.
Are there any other settlements on this planet?
As you look at the data, there is no active settlements with any biosigns. There are other settlements not that far away from the crash site, but they appear to be abandoned.
Well, Doctor, if we are to appear as Vulcan with the prosthetics, then we would not be able to go down there with our EV suits. And if that virus does have any effects on humans, we are going to come back with that in our bloodstream. And that still does not answer the question when we are asked where we are from. A few settlements over, maybe, maybe not. If that doesn't fly and they do see us as Vulcans who have reached here via some spaceship, they would or may want us to take them back with us, which would put Lieutenant Tala in some sort of jeopardy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Bottom line is, none of those Vulcans can be brought onto this ship.
It's possible, Commander. 300 years, they may not even know most of their previous history, those that are remaining. I'm not certain any of the initial crew would still be alive given a Vulcan lifespan. And who knows how their society has developed 300 years away from their home with this degenerative disease that they have.
Is our decon systems operational? If we do make a trip down there without the EV suits, do we know if we can purge ourselves of the virus when we return?
There's no known cure for this unless we get to Vulcan, and we're quite a bit of ways away.
But potentially the away team could be carriers and bring it back and infect Tala.
Unknown. I would have to run tests when they return. Put them under quarantine.
Yeah, the decon should be working, but it's not something you've tested since this all happened, obviously. Low priority.
Well, there's one thing that we do have ample amounts of time for. We can take this slowly. We find a location on that ship somewhere that is what's the word I'm looking for? Somewhere that is secretive, where prying eyes won't find. We beam a single individual down there and bring them back up. Would that give you enough data, Dr. Kaiser?
It's hard to say, but we could certainly run the tests as long as whoever the away team is knows the risk.
Let us do that then. Send one down into that ship. Take a look around and beam them back on board. I will take your recommendation, have the person fitted with prosthetics so that they appear Vulcan in case they do run into somebody on that ship. Does anybody else feel there's a better idea?
It's really only having the prosthetics affixed to your faces if you go down. There's not that many of them. I'm assuming they will recognize that you are not one of the group, most likely. Maybe just looked upon with raised eyebrows. The other thing is garb. What they are wearing needs to be taken into account, as we're not sure what they do wear. If we are out of sorts, then they're going to be easily spotted. That is if we are trying to blend in with the local populace. But if it's just coming in as another ship, those who did have... question, Ted, just for Panar syndrome, would I just know about the fact that people were ostracized?
Yeah, they were definitely ostracized at one point. Less so now. People who somehow get Panar syndrome, which is very, very, very unlikely these days on Vulcan. They just take a pilgrimage to this, what is it called? Kishara, and it essentially over time heals them. But Panar syndrome on Vulcan these days, very, very unlikely. 200 years ago, it was heavily stigmatized because mind melding in general was illegal at one point, and those that did do this oftentimes got this Panar syndrome because only certain people did do mind melds, and so it kind of stayed within their group.
They might think that if we are another ship from Vulcan, they might get hostile on the pretenses that because they were ostracized, they most likely left planet Vulcan to live amongst themselves. I do not know if they will react with rage or some sort of hesitation. But as far as another plan, we could just introduce ourselves as... be honest with who we are. Say what we're doing, though they still might ask for a way off the planet. Though this planet does look fairly habitable by people.
I agree with Tala.
Lieutenant
Perhaps-
Quick, you said that on that ship there was items that would be useful to us. Can you make a list of what we would need?
All right, Commander.
Excellent.
Just so I know, need in what way?
No, so you said that on that ship, the one that crashed, there are he detected there were
Yep.
I shouldn't say items, but they had spare parts
Yep.
on that ship.
Salvageable
That
stuff.
salvageable, yes, that's the word. Salvageable stuff on that ship. So if he could get me a list so that when we are bartering, there is something that I can barter with.
So a list of stuff to give them, you mean?
No, a list of stuff that they can give us from that ship, and then we can find
I
out
see.
what they need. Yeah.
I see.
Um,
Yeah. Why don't you? So let's do this first. Go ahead and roll me a. Go ahead and roll me 2 challenge dice, quick. There should be ZZ roll challenge dice is what you're looking for. You see it? It's on your token. Second row. Quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to him.
No. You have roll challenge dice. It's on your second row. Go ahead and roll me 2 of those.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So 2 items. Go ahead and roll me 2d6. So you're looking at salvageable parts that would be for the computer system and for the sensor array.
Okay.
And he'll repeat those to the commander, and also say, I do agree with Salah. Perhaps 2 of us should go down and be honest with our appearance. Maybe recon the situation
Yes,
in protective suits.
I agree. I have taken all your input into account and consideration. And I appreciate it. But Prime Directive or not, I am not going to let that get in the way of us getting home. This is going to be one of the many hard decisions we will all have to make in our quest to get back home. Lieutenant Tala, stay by the sensors and keep an eye on us if you can. I believe communication is going to be out. Combat should still potentially work.
Yeah, they can work from ship to surface.
Surface.
That distance,
Yeah.
yeah.
As long as there's no other interference.
Yeah.
Com badges should potentially work. Lieutenant Kaiser, please keep Medbay prepared for any eventuality. Lieutenant Cantrell, you and myself are gonna go and quick. You have the bridge.
All right, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander. If you wish to send me ahead of you to assess it, make sure there's no immediate danger, I would be more than pleased to do.
No, that'll be all right. We shall both go down. I can use your skills in sensing the emotions and outlook of these Vulcans towards us. Lieutenant Tala's suggestion of being honest and upfront may be the ticket. There are just too many questions that we would have to answer otherwise. If they cannot fathom a human reaching to space, then So be it, we shall retreat and find some other way.
Very well. Does Dr. Kaiser have our suits prepared, or are they in
EV
another location?
suits, EV suits could be found near the transporter pad. That would be a common place for them.
Got it.
Commander Verma gets up from the chair. He looks around at all of them. No one said it's going to be easy, but I think this might be the first break we've had in a long time. You just need to make it work.
Good luck, Commander.
Kentrell is not going to pack one of those big rifles, but she is going to take one of those displacer pistols just in case. It's a little smaller, right?
They're both about... actually, disruptor pistol's larger than your
Oh,
Type
it
1
is?
phaser. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then she'll just take the normal. Nothing that looks too overtly hostile.
Yes, and before we go down, the Type 1 phaser pistol can be hidden, so we will hide it on our person.
Yep.
Um,
Absolutely. Lieutenant Cantrell and Commander Verma make the trip to the transporter bay. They walk onto the pad. Crewman O'Connor standing nearby at the controls, waiting for the signal.
Commander Verma nods to her. Energize.
Yes, Commander. And she... one sec, sorry. She pulls the sliders down, and both your forms disappear, and the screen goes black, and that is where we're going to end for tonight.
Woohoo!
That was good though.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.